this video, we will be taking a look at the potential risks of starting a new business and how these risks may impact an entrepreneur. As we've discussed in previous videos, there are many rewards to starting your own business. However, without taking calculated risks, it is unlikely you will ever be able to access these rewards. So, you might be asking yourself, what is a risk? More importantly, what is a calculated risk? Well, a risk is, by definition, the possibility that something bad or unpleasant will happen in a given situation. Drive a car and there is a risk you could crash. Go for a swim and there is a risk you could drown. Allow your business to fail and there is a risk you might go bankrupt, experience stress and anxiety, or even a breakdown in relationships with friends and family. We're not going to list failure as a risk, because this is a given. With anything you ever try to accomplish, there is a chance you may fail. Many entrepreneurs have failed time and time again, but have bounced back and gone on to achieve great things. There will always be the chance of failure, and without taking this risk, you could never achieve, well, anything really. The first risk of starting your own business we will explore in more detail is the possibility of financial loss. Almost all businesses require money to get started, to purchase equipment, stock, and sometimes hire staff or rent premises. The initial cash to set up the business will normally come from the entrepreneur themselves, and in the event of failure, their life savings could sadly be lost. Some entrepreneurs may use money lent to them by family and friends to get started, and this means their money is at risk. For many, this risk is too high, and it is probably the biggest reason many people don't choose to start their own business and instead take the less risky option of working for somebody else. It's now time to meet this video's main example. This is Rob Moore, and he has always loved video games. They are his passion. He's devoted most of his spare time to playing them and was convinced that there was nothing he didn't know about this industry. Being unhappy in his office job, Rob decided that he would quit and open his own video game store named Gotcha Games. He had everything planned out. The store would allow customers to trade their games for cash or store credit. He would run daily competitions in the shop to pull people in off the streets, featuring the most popular games, and he would always greet customers with a smile. He was convinced that there was no way that he could fail. It just wasn't possible. He loved games, his customers loved games, and he was going to sell these games to these customers. How could it ever go wrong? From the beginning, Rob knew he would require a large amount of cash. We would often call this capital to get started. But where was Rob going to get all of this capital? Well, first he took some money from his parents, who were happy to help as they believed in his success. They were confident if Rob told them that there was no chance he could fail, that everything would surely be fine. This injection of capital was not enough, and due to the stacks of cash that would be needed to purchase all of the games and the shop fittings, he was forced to take out a large business loan from the bank. In order to get this large loan, he would need some, what we call collateral. This is something that the bank can take if the loan isn't repaid. Having discussed things at length with his wife, they decided that they would put their own house on the line. This meant their house could be taken if the business failed and the loan was not repaid. As you can imagine, this is a huge risk. If the business failed, Rob and his family might lose their home. So as you can see, the financial risks involved in starting your own business can be pretty scary. Not every entrepreneur will risk their house, but many will be forced to invest large amounts of their own cash to get things off the ground. To all the teachers out there, show all of these videos without any ads and gain access to our growing library of over 500 teaching worksheets. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? So, the next risk associated with starting a business focuses on the entrepreneur's health. For many, running their own business will be the most stressful thing that they have ever tried to achieve. These high levels of stress and anxiety have the potential to lead to both physical and mental health problems. For some, they are unable to cope with the daily pressures, and this can inevitably lead to the failure of the business. As somebody who deals well with pressure, having worked in busy offices for many years, Rob would tell you he had never been as stressed as he was during the launch of the shop. With so many decisions to make and countless hours of setting things up, Rob had managed to get very little sleep over the weeks leading up to the opening. He had also been suffering from extremely painful headaches as the day approached, and he did not have time to speak to a doctor. With no time to rest and recuperate, the pressures of getting the shop ready for opening meant that Rob had simply not been looking after himself, and this had impacted both his physical and his mental well-being. Now, don't be too put off. Yes, there are stresses. Yes, you may have to work long hours, but you could have what it takes. The most successful entrepreneurs around the globe live extremely stressful lives, and it is your ability to manage these pressures that separates you from those who might inevitably fail. Bring this video and over 100 more to life with fun, interactive games, quizzes, and case studies. Why not try the first 25 completely free by visiting BizzWizard.co.uk. Now, the final risk that we will be looking at is strained relationships. The time many entrepreneurs have to put into running their own business means that many are not able to spend quality time with friends and family. The commitment to being successful can sometimes mean that entrepreneurs focus mainly on their business and are not able to give their loved ones the time and attention they deserve. In some cases, this can, unfortunately, lead to relationships breaking down. For Rob, there is nothing more important in life than his family. With 2 young children and a loving wife, he has always been extremely proud of their tight family unit. But in the months leading to the opening of the shop, Rob had to work extremely long hours, on many days working late into the night. This meant his wife was at home looking after their children, and many nights he did not arrive back until after they were already sleeping. Although she was always supportive, Rob began to feel there was a distance growing between himself and his wife, and he worried they no longer had the quality time together that they had always enjoyed. Unfortunately, this is one of the significant risks you take as an entrepreneur. Once again, it will be down to you to manage this risk. Yes, your enterprise is important. You have probably risked a lot to set it up, but always remember that your most important relationships in life sometimes need to come first. After all, what's the point in all of those rewards for successful entrepreneurship if you have nobody to share them with? Each of the video courses over at BizzWizard.co.uk also includes an interactive business case study that applies the knowledge learned to a real-world scenario. There are over 1,000 multiple-choice questions, each with detailed feedback, which tests students' understanding of the content. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? Unfortunately, there is no happily ever after in this tale. I'm not going to sugarcoat the situation. Rob's venture was unsuccessful, and the store closed less than a year after its doors had opened. This was not because Rob wasn't determined enough, or because he was not confident. The business simply failed because Rob had not completed enough market research and didn't realise that many consumers were now digitally downloading their games. He had not taken into account that companies such as Amazon and large supermarkets would be able to sell new games at a lower price than he could, simply because they are able to buy such vast quantities. Luckily, with the help of family and friends, Rob was able to pay off his loan without losing his house. He is still happily married to his wife, and he spends as much time as possible with his children. He was forced to get another office job and return to working for somebody else in order to pay his bills, but he is unlikely to ever forget the time that he risked it all. So, to finish things off, remember, before ever deciding to set up your own business, it is extremely important to weigh up both the potential risks and the potential rewards. It is true that without taking some risk, there can be no reward, but you must make sure that you have carefully considered everything before you make that choice to begin the adventure of launching your own business. This has been the BizzWizard. See you in the next video.